Welcome to the Discourse Analyzer AI Toolkit, where articles come alive. You're listening to the audio version of our article. For the full text and an interactive experience, check out the link in the description below. Interact with any selection using our AI assistant to enhance your understanding. Let's explore.
Triangulation in discourse analysis. Triangulation in discourse analysis refers to the use of multiple methods, data sources, theoretical perspectives, or researchers to study a particular discourse phenomenon. The goal of triangulation is to increase the credibility, validity, and depth of the research by cross-verifying findings from different angles. In discourse analysis, where the meaning-making process is complex and context-dependent, triangulation allows researchers to capture the multifaceted nature of language use and social interactions, thereby providing a more comprehensive understanding of how discourse functions. Triangulation is particularly useful in discourse analysis because it helps overcome potential biases, strengthens the findings, and ensures that the analysis captures the richness and complexity of language. It helps researchers ensure that their interpretations are not overly influenced by a single source or method, providing a more nuanced and reliable analysis. Types of triangulation in discourse analysis. Point 1. Data triangulation. Using multiple sources of data. Data triangulation involves collecting and analyzing data from multiple sources to provide a broader understanding of the discourse being studied. By examining discourse in different contexts or across various forms of communication, researchers can cross-check findings and see how consistent patterns or themes emerge. Different contexts. Data may come from a variety of settings, such as interviews, written texts, social media, or institutional discourse, to capture how discourse varies across different environments. Longitudinal data. In some cases, data triangulation may involve examining discourse over time to understand how language evolves and responds to changing social, political, or cultural contexts. Example. In a study of media representations of immigration, data triangulation might involve analyzing newspaper articles, TV news reports, social media discussions, and political speeches. By comparing these different sources, researchers can identify whether the same themes or framings of immigration are consistent across platforms or whether certain media outlets present different discourses. Point 2. Methodological triangulation. Combining multiple analytical methods. Methodological triangulation refers to the use of different research methods to analyze the same data or phenomenon. This might involve combining qualitative and quantitative approaches or integrating various discourse analytical methods to enrich the analysis. Qualitative and quantitative methods. Researchers might combine detailed qualitative discourse analysis with corpus linguistics or frequency analysis to examine patterns of language use at both micro and macro levels. Multiple approaches. Researchers might use different approaches to discourse analysis, such as conversation analysis, critical discourse analysis, CDA, and multimodal analysis, to explore different dimensions of language use. Example. In a study of political speeches, a researcher might use critical discourse analysis to examine the ideological content of the speeches and also apply conversation analysis to explore how interactional dynamics, such as turn-taking or interruptions, shape the power relations in political debates. Point 3. Theoretical triangulation. Applying multiple theoretical perspectives. Theoretical triangulation involves using multiple theoretical frameworks to interpret the data. Different theories can offer complementary perspectives on how discourse functions, enabling researchers to develop a more robust and nuanced interpretation of their findings. Complementary theories. Researchers might apply sociocultural theories, linguistic theories, and critical theories simultaneously to analyze how language constructs social identity, power, and ideology. Challenging perspectives. Using multiple theoretical lenses can also help researchers challenge their initial assumptions and interpretations, ensuring that the analysis accounts for different dimensions of meaning-making. Example. A study of gender discourse in workplace settings might draw from feminist theory to explore power dynamics, sociolinguistic theory to understand gendered language patterns, and organizational theory to examine how corporate structures influence communication practices. Each theoretical perspective provides a different insight into how gender is constructed and maintained through workplace discourse. Point 4. Researcher triangulation. Involving multiple researchers in the analysis. Researcher triangulation involves having multiple researchers analyze the same data to reduce bias and enhance the reliability of the findings. By involving different researchers with diverse backgrounds, perspectives, and expertise, the analysis can benefit from a wider range of interpretations and insights. Intercoder reliability. When researchers collaborate on coding and interpreting data, they can compare their analyses to ensure consistency and reliability in how they interpret and categorize language use. Diverse perspectives. Different researchers may bring different theoretical or methodological approaches to the data, leading to a more comprehensive analysis of the discourse. Example: in a study of classroom discourse, multiple researchers might independently analyze the same transcript of a teacher-student interaction. By comparing their findings, they can ensure that their interpretations of how the teacher manages classroom authority or how students negotiate meaning are consistent and valid. Point 5. Environmental triangulation. Using different contextual settings. Environmental triangulation involves studying discourse in multiple settings or under varying conditions to see how context influences language use. The environment in which discourse occurs, whether formal or informal, public or private, can significantly affect how language is produced, received, and interpreted. Cross-context comparison. Researchers may examine how discourse functions in different social, cultural, or institutional contexts, highlighting how language is adapted to fit specific environments. Changing conditions. This type of triangulation also considers how changes in the environment, e.g., shifts in social norms, technological advances, or political changes, influence discourse over time. Example: a discourse analyst studying the language of health communication might compare how medical advice is communicated in formal clinical settings, e.g., doctor-patient consultations, informal health discussions, e.g., social media forums, and public health campaigns. Environmental triangulation would highlight how the language of health varies depending on the level of formality and audience. Advantages of triangulation in discourse analysis. Point 1. Increased validity. By cross-verifying data or findings using multiple methods, sources, or perspectives, triangulation helps to confirm the robustness of the research. This reduces the likelihood that findings are the result of researcher bias or methodological limitations, leading to a more credible analysis. Example: a study that combines discourse analysis of news reports with interviews from journalists and readers might reveal whether the interpretations of the news discourse align with how it is understood and received by different groups, increasing the validity of the findings. Point 2. Richer understanding of complex phenomena. Discourse is often a complex, multi-layered phenomenon that operates across various contexts and modes. Triangulation allows researchers to capture the richness of discourse by providing multiple perspectives and methodologies, thereby creating a more comprehensive picture of how language functions in society. Example: a researcher studying racial discourse in popular culture might use triangulation by analyzing television shows, conducting audience surveys, and examining online fan forums. This combination would offer insights into how racial representations are constructed in the media, how audiences interpret these representations, and how fans engage with these themes in digital spaces. Point 3. Minimizing researcher bias. By involving multiple researchers or using diverse perspectives, triangulation helps minimize the potential for individual biases to influence the findings. Researcher triangulation, in particular, ensures that findings are not shaped by a single perspective, making the research process more objective and balanced. Example: in a team-based research project on discourse around climate change, different researchers might bring their own disciplinary perspectives, e.g., environmental science, sociology, linguistics, leading to a balanced and interdisciplinary approach to analyzing how climate change is framed in public discourse. Point 4. Cross-verification of findings. Triangulation provides a way to cross-verify findings by using different data sources or methods. If similar findings emerge from different approaches, researchers can be more confident that their interpretations are accurate and meaningful. Example: if both a content analysis of news articles and interviews with reporters reveal a consistent pattern in how economic crises are framed, this triangulation strengthens the validity of the conclusion that economic crises are typically framed through a lens of individual responsibility rather than systemic failure. Challenges of triangulation in discourse analysis. Point 1. Complexity and time intensiveness. Triangulation often requires the use of multiple methods, data sources, or theoretical perspectives, making the research process more complex and time-consuming. Collecting and analyzing data from different angles can be challenging, particularly in large-scale studies. Example: a project using data triangulation might involve analyzing thousands of social media posts, conducting in-depth interviews, and analyzing news articles. This could require significant time and resources to manage and analyze the different datasets. Point 2. Difficulty in integrating findings. When using multiple methods or theoretical frameworks, it can be difficult to integrate the findings in a coherent way. Different approaches may yield different results, and synthesizing them into a unified interpretation can be challenging. Example: in a study that combines critical discourse analysis with ethnographic observations, the findings from textual analysis might differ from those gained through fieldwork. Reconciling these different types of data and their potentially conflicting insights can be a challenge for researchers. Point 3. Potential for contradictory results. Triangulation can sometimes produce contradictory findings, which can complicate the interpretation process. Researchers must carefully consider how to address inconsistencies and whether these contradictions reflect deeper complexities in the discourse. Example: in a study of gender discourse, an analysis of media content might reveal progressive portrayals of women, while interviews with viewers could show that audiences interpret these portrayals as reinforcing traditional gender roles. The researcher must then explore why these discrepancies exist and what they reveal about the relationship between discourse and interpretation. Conclusion: triangulation in discourse analysis is a powerful strategy for increasing the validity, depth, and reliability of research findings. By combining multiple data sources, methods, theoretical perspectives, or researchers, triangulation allows discourse analysts to capture the multifaceted nature of language use and meaning-making. While it can be time-consuming and complex, the benefits of triangulation include a more comprehensive and nuanced understanding of how discourse operates across different contexts and social settings. Through triangulation, researchers can minimize bias, cross-verify findings, and reveal the layered dynamics of discourse, contributing to a more robust and credible analysis. Frequently asked questions. What is triangulation in discourse analysis? Triangulation in discourse analysis refers to the use of multiple methods, data sources, theoretical perspectives, or researchers to study a particular discourse phenomenon. It aims to enhance the credibility, validity, and depth of research by cross-verifying findings from different angles, providing a more comprehensive understanding of how discourse functions. Why is triangulation important in discourse analysis? Triangulation is important because discourse analysis involves complex, context-dependent meaning-making processes. It helps overcome potential biases, strengthens findings, and ensures that the analysis captures the multifaceted nature of language use and social interactions. Triangulation also helps ensure that interpretations are not overly influenced by a single source or method. What are the main types of triangulation in discourse analysis? The main types of triangulation in discourse analysis include data triangulation, using multiple sources of data; methodological triangulation, combining multiple analytical methods; theoretical triangulation, applying multiple theoretical perspectives; researcher triangulation, involving multiple researchers in the analysis; environmental triangulation, using different contextual settings. How does data triangulation work in discourse analysis? Data triangulation involves collecting and analyzing data from multiple sources to provide a broader understanding of the discourse. This could include data from different contexts, e.g., interviews, written texts, social media, or longitudinal data, examining discourse over time. to see how language use varies across different environments. Example: analyzing media representations of immigration through newspaper articles, TV news reports, social media discussions, and political speeches to identify consistent themes or differences across these platforms. What is methodological triangulation? Methodological triangulation refers to the use of different research methods to analyze the same data or phenomenon. This might involve combining qualitative and quantitative approaches or integrating various discourse analytical methods to provide a richer analysis. Example: in a study of political speeches, combining critical discourse analysis to examine ideological content with conversation analysis to explore interactional dynamics in debates. How does theoretical triangulation enhance discourse analysis? Theoretical triangulation involves using multiple theoretical frameworks to interpret the data. Different theories can offer complementary or challenging perspectives on discourse, leading to a more nuanced interpretation. Example: studying gender discourse in the workplace using feminist theory to explore power dynamics, sociolinguistic theory for language patterns, and organizational theory for structural influences on communication practices. What is researcher triangulation? Researcher triangulation involves having multiple researchers analyze the same data to reduce bias and enhance the reliability of findings. It ensures diverse perspectives are considered and promotes inter-coder reliability by comparing analyses. Example: multiple researchers independently analyze classroom discourse to ensure consistent interpretations of teacher-student interactions, leading to a more balanced analysis. How does environmental triangulation contribute to discourse analysis? Environmental triangulation involves studying discourse in multiple settings or under varying conditions to see how context influences language use. It highlights how language is adapted to fit specific environments, whether formal or informal, public or private. Example: comparing how medical advice is communicated in clinical settings, informal health discussions on social media, and public health campaigns to understand the variation in health communication. What are the advantages of using triangulation in discourse analysis? Increased validity. Cross-verifying findings from multiple sources or methods enhances credibility. Richer understanding. Captures the complexity of discourse by providing multiple perspectives. Minimizing bias. Involves different researchers or perspectives to reduce individual bias. Cross-verification. Provides a way to confirm findings, ensuring their accuracy. What are some challenges of triangulation in discourse analysis? Complexity and time intensiveness. Using multiple methods or sources can be resource intensive. Difficulty in integrating findings. Synthesizing different methods or theoretical perspectives can be challenging. Potential for contradictory results. Different methods or sources may produce conflicting findings, requiring careful interpretation. How can researchers effectively integrate findings from triangulation? Researchers can integrate findings by carefully considering how different methods, data sources, or theoretical perspectives complement or challenge each other. They should be transparent about how they synthesize results and explore inconsistencies to gain deeper insights into the discourse. Example: in a study combining critical discourse analysis with ethnographic observations, researchers might reconcile differences by considering how textual analysis aligns with or diverges from observed behaviors in real-life interactions. Can triangulation be used in digital discourse analysis? Yes, triangulation is highly relevant in digital discourse analysis, where language use can vary across platforms. Researchers can use data triangulation by analyzing discourse on different social media platforms, blogs, and news sites, and apply methodological triangulation by combining quantitative text analysis with qualitative interpretations. Example: analyzing the discourse around a social movement like #MeToo across Twitter, Facebook, and news articles, using both frequency analysis and in-depth qualitative analysis to understand the movement's framing and public reception.